Welcome to Deepfake 101, aka BlackMantel, as I discuss information technology, also known as IT. Today's episode, we're going to talk about what AI can do already, what should scare us. And I want to get into this topic because if you look at the power of artificial intelligence, aka AI, and its reach in everyday life, we can definitely see the dangers because it introduces more scams that bad actors that I always talk about all the time can use and craft documents and emails to send to people, surveillance, deep fake. And the ethical questions around this still have not been answered throughout society because technology is moving at a faster pace than society can absolutely keep up. But we have to be able to ask the right questions in these. And the thing is this that the creepy reality about AI is it can now talk to you, it can write like you even better, and it can even look like you. You know, they got robots out now that you can buy that basically can physically sit in your home and do tasks. And a lot of this is the fact that AI can mimic you and has never physically met you, with the exception of the robots I was talking about. This is just getting started. The test phase is out there. I want to bring something up here, and I want you to just keep this in mind as I'm going through this. But how many of you specifically remember the movie I, Robot? How many of you remember that movie? If you have seen that movie down the line, if you remember very closely, and this is just a random article that I found online, but this had one of the better pictures here. If you see how the human-like face that this robot has reminds me of the ones that Elon Musk has, and it also reminds me of the futuristic aspects and how our movies are now. But keep our robot in mind. That was just in 2004, and here we are in 2025, 21 years later to 20 to 21. So sorry, when this movie came out in 2004, we're in 2025 right now. So you have 24 years to 25 years later, you're beginning to see the beginning. And so once these movies were coming out, they were showing you what was going, because movies always show what's coming out in the future in the theaters. So once the audience, they kind of test to see how the audience gauge, and if the audience likes it, that technology, of course, is going to come out at some point. But wouldn't that make you think twice? Like, for what's going on in 2025 now, what's back then, and what we have not seen yet is already being, or it's already going through the makeup process now. But I like to look at the different sides. The good side is there are some impressive AI capabilities out there if they can be used right. For example, ChatGPT can be used, and AI can be used in combination to write really good articles, write really good papers, books, scripts, things like that. Quick things for you to use as a reference, but not to actually just like copy and paste. Then mid journey, you have your AI capabilities in terms of your Dell E, which is creating hyper realistic art. And sometimes it will create motion within that. Then you have AI in medicine, which I'm predicting there's going to be a way for doctors to perform surgeries on people without physically having to cut lacerations or cuts on them. I remember hearing something about a micro U-boat back in the 90s. And maybe I misread something back then. And what it was is like this pill that a person could take, and it was basically, matter of fact, so I was absolutely right about that. Okay, so I remember reading about this back in the early 90s. I have to show you all this because this is like super important here. So micro U-boat was basically a way for doctors to deliver medicine in patients. And I thought about this. When was this going to actually happen? And it was in popular mechanics, just as I was like talking about earlier. But the micro U-boats, or the micro submarines, what they call them, basically could deliver medicine in the body without surgery. The futuristic robots are very long form ways from the operating room, but a fantastic voyage may be sooner than expected. So for people that may have cancer or different kinds of, things going on, taking a pill and then sending that down the person's body, and somebody driving that in your body to kill infections and all kinds of other stuff. Like, this is the stuff I'm talking about. I heard about this in the 90s reading Popular Mechanics or some other book. Here it is, 2025. I'm looking at this now. That was well over 30 years ago when I heard about this. And this is the future of medicine. Then you have your AI voice assistants to be able to change your voice, handle customer support calls. People are getting lazy now. You're getting better customer service through robots than you are talking to somebody. But the AI voice assistants are not bad. You have Google's Gemini, Meta's LLAMA, or Llama, is what it looks like to me, and Open AI's multi-module tools. But the mini take is they're helping people hopefully work smarter. But the more advanced the AI gets, the less manual jobs will be out there. But here's the bad side: AI is replacing human jobs. Well, how so? Well, you used to have 600 to 1,200 people sitting in a call center for business processing outsourcing centers, BPOs, basically your huge telecommunication companies like AT&T and T and Verizon and all those have companies overseas that they will work with. They're now able to basically, with AI and chatbots, they can do call centers, customer supporting, and write content. Is already impacting those particular industries. As it's impacting those particular industries, it's helping people generate faceless YouTube channels, code generation, such as Microsoft Copilot. They're changing the jobs in the landscape. So it's not just about the blue collar jobs, but it's most definitely repetitive tasks and creating more technical jobs out there. And the technical jobs are becoming more vulnerable. But here's the scary thing: AI scams and deep fake is putting people in places that you know that they are not, and it's already happening. Voice cloning. I always telling people, stop answering phone numbers you don't recognize, because as soon as you say, or as soon as you answer the phone, they're recording your voice and using it and merging voices together to create voice cloning. Scam calls to mimic loved ones and CEOs. People are still getting scammed. AI generated emails with perfect grammar, especially if they don't speak English. Now, deep fake, bad thing about that is becoming useful in misinformation during election cycles. political disinformation, revenge content, fake evidence. Uh, there was a case in Memphis with the five police officers that that it was like a police brutality case. But if you look at it, they were using AI in the courtroom. Let's see if I can find that. They was using AI in the courtroom, and this was earlier in the month. Let's see if I can find that. And I remember seeing a glimpse of it on the news, but I'm just looking here to see if I can find where that was at. Let's see. Give me just a second. Let's see if I can find that. All right. So I think I may be getting close here because I mean, man, they literally, I'm not going to show. So what I want you all to do, because I'm not going to pull this, because I don't want to replay anything here on the channel, but take a look at, I believe it was the Tyree Nichols case. I believe there was some AI used in there. Yes, this information is AI generated may return results that are not relevant. Does not represent. Okay. Definitely take a look at this. I think they use some AI in that particular footage, but it's definitely being used in courtrooms. I'm gonna have to find that and definitely do a second video on this here. But I want to bring it up since we were talking about like the news and elections and the news headlines and stuff. But there's like different kind of scams that's going on out there. And of course, you got your surveillance going on out there, facial recognition. I remember in Dubai in what 2014, 2015, they was already using facial recognition there. So we're already 10 years behind. Normally things happen overseas first and then it transitions over from east to west. So we're normally the last to get it, if that makes any sense. I'm beginning to notice more smart cameras, predictive policing software. So, you got the one that I believe in Kansas City. I want to say the sharpshooter that is beginning to be placed in different municipalities. And then you have the Skycop cameras, of course, in the Memphis area. You got the Skycop cameras that are around. And Skycop, I mean, is a smaller company over. I know we have them in the Memphis area. I'm not sure if they are specifically just Memphis, but they provide cameras that they can set up that use cellular signal to talk back to police departments so that they can keep track on things. But there are these cameras that not the police, but the city or law enforcement use in neighborhoods. I want to say they're license plates. Let's see if I can find one here for. I mean, there's just so many things that's just popping into my head as I'm thinking about this, and I've taken physical pictures of these, but I'm sure you've seen these in like neighborhoods before. And let me just go to one here. As a matter of fact, this right here would be the perfect one to show. But let's do this one right here. Bear with me for a few minutes. So if you look at these cameras right here, normally you'll see the solar panel behind that, and you'll see the camera there. And those cameras basically are automated license plate readers. So it kind of knows who's going into a community, who's coming out of the community. And normally they're placed in specific locations that may be rural areas that may are starting to get more traffic, especially if they're going to be building and it's coming into communities and out of communities. Now, those have been some pretty interesting things and sights to see. Scary at first, but makes you want to kind of be a little bit skeptical. But they're kind of a little bit discreet. You won't realize that it's there until you actually just keep, going down the way. But thinking about this, having all this into play, AI is basically taking your voice, scraping it with text and images, combining the data, and whatever it sees through the system is going to learn everything. So, what rights do you absolutely have left? And that's what you have to be concerned about the most. Now, AI doesn't think it's going to mimic patterns without empathy or context. It's just going to do its thing. It's definitely going to be biased and it's going to begin to make decisions. So, if we start seeing AI based lawyers, that means the policing and stuff like that is going to be start using artificial intelligence. Lending, such as banking loans, I can see those coming down the line. But is there really any real rules and regulations? It seems like the wild, wild west right now because everybody's trying to rush to get on the bandwagon. But you could be targeted at some point, impersonated. But I want to kind of wrap you into just a fifth thing or two. Before you post online, be careful of what you post. Just think about it before you do it. Because AI is scraping the information, it's going to learn, it's going to create some generated content and use reverse images. Because these tools are getting smarter and smarter by the day, more people are using them. And it's going to be consistently collecting information. Now, on one hand, AI is extremely powerful and it will be very powerful and continue to even get more powerful, but it's also a mirror. What you put in is what's going to come out. And so you have to stay curious, but you have to stay aware. And I definitely want to continue to bring more of these videos to you because I absolutely enjoy these topics when it deals with the security perspective behind this because we have to keep tabs on what is going on out there. So definitely like, listen, subscribe to the channel, Deepfake 101, aka BlackMantel. Post in the comments below if you have any questions. I definitely try to reach back out to you. Like, listen, and subscribe. Talk with you all soon.